This is the story of Carlos Tintrell Red Garrett, a music sensation from Bruceville, Indiana, between 1945 to 1951. Please stay tuned to this tragic story of life and death.
Everywhere you go, you hear hillbilly music play, and now you see it's affecting me, and they've got me singing that way. At the restaurant has a jukebox too, and it's playing night and day. While I eat my grub, I hear Ernest Tubb, and he's got me singing that way.
Carlos Tintrell Garrett, affectionately known to the world as Red Garrett. I'll refer to him as Red. Red was born September 11, 1925, to Robert Ellis Garrett, and mother Lula May Raines, in Byrdstown, Pickett County, Tennessee. His father Robert died less than a year after Red was born. Losing the breadwinner in a family would have been devastating during these times. He worked on a Tennessee highway department where he was killed while at work. Red had 5 siblings, 3 brothers, 2 sisters. Red also had 5 half-siblings, 3 half-sisters, 2 half-brothers. Red's mother, after being widowed, moved back to Bruceville, Indiana, in Knox County. She wanted to be closer to their relatives. Red actually grew up in Bruceville. A short time before 1940, Red and his family lived in Washington, Indiana, on Pearl Street for a short time. Red attended the Bruceville High School, but only completed 6th grade. World War II started, and Red with 3 of his brothers, Joe Garrett, Martin Garrett, and William Garrett, joined the United States military. His brother Joe Garrett is in the Army, and was stationed in Pearl Harbor when the Japanese attacked. He's in Australia at this time. William is in England and is involved in first aid surgery. Carlos had a bit of bad luck though, and was logged AWOL December 14, 1944. On December 29, he was labeled as a straggler and sent to New York. New York for disciplinary action. Red reported for duty on the Erickson on December 31, 1944. USS Erickson was, DD-440, a Gleaves-class destroyer. Red was a bit of a jokester. My mother told me Red could imitate about any noise. He once imitated a police car siren. It was so convincing that a Vincennes police officer stopped Red, to see if he had an illegal police siren in his car. He almost got arrested on that joke. However, the following joke he did get a fine for. February 13, 1946, Carlos Garrett, Red, Bruceville youth found that his role of a FBI agent was not so profitable when he was fined $1, and costs in city court Wednesday morning on a disorderly conduct. According to police reports, Red called police station Tuesday night, and said he had located 4 German spies, that he was an FBI agent, and wanted help in rounding them up. Police traced the place where the call was made, and arrested Red. He entered a plea of guilty to a disorderly conduct charge. I'm sure Red told this story over and over to his many friends. September 7, 1946, Red married Juanita Ellen Cummins. In Delaware, Indiana he was 24 years old, and Juanita was 18. She was born January 11, 1928, in Muncie, California, to Franklin Cummins and Carol Moore. The union between these two didn't last long, as they were divorced by 1947. By July 16, 1947, Mrs. Cummins was remarried. Mr. and Mrs. Carlos Garrett of Bruceville announced the birth of a daughter at 1 o'clock Thursday morning, February 6, 1947, at the Good Samaritan Hospital. However, this union could not withstand the strain of the life of a musician. 22 months later, on November 10, 1948, the Vincennes Sun commercial reported that Red and his second wife Colleen Garrett was granted a divorce. Colleen also given custody of Brenda Kay, their 21-month-old daughter. This is the only record I can find of Red having this daughter, or the marriage to Colleen. The rigors of a musician can be devastating on marriages. Probably at first Red wasn't making much money like most up-and-coming stars, but always on the go to find that next gig. Maybe his demons raised its awful head. No matter how bad the divorce was, I'm sure this gave Red much more free time to perfect his skills.
If I tell you I've forgotten, don't believe a thing I say.
After the war, Red settled back into Knox County where he started playing guitar and singing. He mostly sang in clubs and bars. On Friday, July 4, 1947, Red got a break in his musical career. He played the Seder Morgan Barn Dance at the Pantheon Theater. He won first place in the Pepsi-Cola Amateur Contest. The win netted Red a whopping $15, and a weekly live 15-minute radio show on WAOV. A very popular channel for that area. The following Wednesday on July 9, 1947, the Pepsi-Cola first place winner Mr. Red Garrett was to play again, on stage of the New Moon, which will feature the Buckeye Four of the Shady Valley Gang, and by popular request Patty Edwards, of Washington, Indiana. Lay back and enjoy some smooth tunes from the talented Mr. Red Garrett. Let it take you back.
Now you're long gone, and I'm all alone. Tell me when you're coming home. You better make tracks and hurry on back, 'cause I'll be getting my honey from a hand to your cold. You're long gone, doing me wrong, treating me the way you do. You've been gone too long, and if you're gone any longer, I'll be long gone too. Away and left me lonely and blue. You shattered my heart, took my honeycomb too. Now you're long gone, I'm all alone. Tell me when you're coming home. You better make tracks and hurry on back, or I'll be getting my honey from a hand to your comb. You're long gone, doing me wrong, treating me the way you do. You've been gone too long, and if you're gone any longer, I'll be long gone too.
Of course, winning this contest at the Seder Morgan Dance, and getting his time slot on the most popular station in town, made Red a very popular musician for this part of the country. Red had started up a band called the Tennessee Pioneers. The band consisted of Red, Bev Hopkins, who some say Red married, but I can't find any evidence to that. The other members were Bud Markham and Al Swain. These were all local musicians very popular to the area. The earliest I could find Red performing out in public was November 20, 1947. He was listed with a band from his earlier days, the Red Garrett's Rhythm Rockers, and the Cumberland Valley Boys. The band consisted of the following local musicians: Carlos Garrett, Rob Richardson, Louis Brown, and Frank O'Neill. They played Request for Veterans at the Hillcrest Hospital. You could usually catch Red performing somewhere in the Vincennes, Knox County, Indiana area. He was very much in demand for musical entertainment. Like the day of Wednesday of July 16, 1947, when Red performed at the New Moon. For the Seder Morgan Barn Dance, with other performers like Lexi White, and his troupe from the Shady Valley, and Jack Doonigan and the Hoosier Sweethearts. Red was performing nightly in the Knox County area. The world was going to get a whole lot bigger for the Vincennes, Indiana Knox County music sensation. It was reported by the Vincennes Sun commercial on October 21, 1951, the Mr. Red Garrett signed a recording contract with the Tennessee Recording Company. The story read like this. Carlos Red Garrett, formerly of Bruceville, has signed a 5-year contract with Tennessee Recording Company, Nashville, Tennessee. His first record will be on the market this fall. He is the son of Mrs. Lula Garrett, Bruceville, and the brother of Mrs. Sadie Stevens, and Mrs. Mary Luckett. The Opry show you are watching here, wouldn't be much different than the shows Red would have performed in. Mr. Roy Acuff in this program was a good friend to Red Garrett. Red never got to make the recording that fall, more about that later. Red, and his Tennessee Pioneers, appeared on the Grand Ole Opry stage, in the old Ryman Auditorium, on October 27, 1951, and September 20, 1953. However, Red, and his band worked for the Grand Ole Opry between 1951 and 1956, performing on US and Canadian tours, sponsored by the Opry, and at least one of his original songs made the Billboard Top 10 list for the country hits in 1954. Garrett had a remarkable voice, and could sound like any other country singer. So he was made master of ceremonies for those Opry road shows. It was near impossible to tell the difference between Red, or the original star he was imitating. He made friends with such stars as Hank Williams, Ernest Tubb, Roy Acuff, you see performing in this video, Jim Reeves, and Hank Snow.
Yeah! Hillbilly fever's going round, but old mountain music's got me down. It's got me robbing castles, going rise and slipping around. Hillbilly fever's going round. When you walk up to a jukebox and you slip a nickel in, you can bet your bottom dollar when the record starts to play you hear a fiddle and a guitar with a honky-tonky sound. It's that hillbilly fever spreading all around. Hillbilly fever's going around. Good old mountain music's got me down. I spent a Sunday down in Tennessee and this is what I found. Hillbilly fever's going around. Howdy, Foster. Yes, sir. Good old hillbilly fever. When love buzzes around you and you don't know you've been stung, and you go to see your doctor and he says poke out your thumb, but when he looks into that canyon tells you, brother, I've got news. You're the victim of sweet daddy, you've got the lovesick blues. Hillbilly fever's going around. Good old mountain music's got me down. I stopped in Chattanooga, got a shine, and I heard this sound. Yeah! Hillbilly fever's going around. Yeah, Jim.
In 1954, Red Garrett was interviewed by a reporter from the Country Music Hits magazine. Red told the reporter, "Yes sir, I'm in tall cotton, as my mama used to say, and I hope to stay there. I only want to sing, and play for all those good folks across the country. The Opry family has been good to me." The phrase "I'm in tall cotton" means you're doing very well for yourself. A late 1953 magazine article, Cowboy Songs magazine, included him as one of the stars on the horizon. It also indicated he was working broadcasts back in Vincennes and Princeton, Indiana. In 1951, during his time with the Opry, he appeared on the same billing with such stars as Cowboy Copas, Eddie Arnold, Elton Britt, Slim Whitman, and Webb Pierce, among others. He also gathered a following up in Canada. Around that same time, he signed a recording contract with RCA Victor. His first release for them was Blame It on the Moonlight, Don't Be Ashamed of Your Past. Hank Williams, a country music sensation, died on January 1, 1953. One of his best friends was our Red Garrett. Sometime after Hank's death, 25 musicians along with Red Garrett did a tribute album to Hank. Red Garrett contributed the song May You Never Be Alone, and Bed of Roses.
Dear Hank, I knew you just a short time, but I knew just what was troubling your mind. There was nothing anyone could do, and in your heart, Hank, I guess you knew it too. But I often wonder if you ever knew there was a bed of roses waiting for you. If you could have seen the tears that were shed the day that you were laid to rest, they couldn't believe, Hank, that you had died. The world was sad, and like me, they cried. But I still wonder if you ever knew there was a bed of roses waiting for you. You had success, Hank, and glory so fine, a fortune in memories you've left behind. The way that you sang, you seemed to know that something would happen most any time. And I still wonder if you ever knew there was a bed of roses waiting for you. You had millions of friends, yet you felt alone. For within your heart, Hank, was sorrow unknown. I'll never know until we meet again in God's home in heaven someday. Then you can tell me, Hank, if you ever knew there was a bed of roses waiting for you.
The Lord to set me free. May you never be alone like me.
There was an article that mentioned Red had disappeared from the music scene, but by about 1955, he had come back to performing. In 1956, he had a record out on the Decca label. It appears he also did some songwriting, too, as we found he co-wrote a tune with Boudleaux's Bryant called Moonlight. Red Garrett married Clotilde Nicastro, who was born on May 26, 1927, to Father Aniello Nicastro, and her mother Ernestine Calamia, Red. And Clotilde was married on March 1955, in Garfield, Bergen County, New Jersey. He had been out of the music business for about a year at this time. The wedding was big news since Red had all this fame at the time. It was a story for the Herald News in Passaic, New Jersey. September 30, 1960, Clotilde was granted a divorce from Red Garrett, but not before Clotilde had a son with Red. During the divorce, Red was listed as being in the federal prison, in Terre Haute, Indiana, on the charge of desertion on September 19, 1958. Their son Neil Garrett was born 1958. I had located many newspaper stories where he was a fantastic athlete. Neil passed away on April 20, 1982. He was only 24 years old. At the time he was a plumber's assistant. On Neil's passing, his father was already deceased. Red's mother Lula Raines Garrett passed away on November 18, 1961, she was 85 years old. Lula May passed away in the hospital after suffering a heart attack. The only biological parent Red had known, since his father passed away before Red's first birthday. Red's mother was buried in Bruceville, Indiana. This had to have been very hard on Red. Red Garrett during his professional music career, produced around 9 records, with 18 songs. The list of Red's records are, with the Decca label, Papa Joe's Place, Standing at the End of the World, Don't Believe a Thing I Say, My Search on Earth Is Over, May You Never Be Alone, A Bed of Roses, and Clear Sailing. He recorded several with RCA Victor, Don't Be Ashamed of Your Past, Blame It on the Moonlight, Please, They Got Me Singing That Way, Moon 10, Smoke Screen, Bullseye, Too Late to Plow Now, That's Why I'm Happy, You played taps to my heart, long gone, tell me again. You may find some of these songs on YouTube. The first time I ever met Red, it was spring of 1978, I was walking to school, and bumped into him near a tavern on 2nd Street in Vincennes, Indiana, called the Union Tavern. He tried to bum some money from me, for some alcohol. I had none to give, and he went on his way. I also would run into him near the post office on Broadway and 4th, just a few blocks south of my high school. He put out his hat, and sing, and play guitar for whatever change he could get. This was also my senior year, spring of 1978. Speaking with some older police officers, who remember Red very well. They said they might pick up Red on a public intox charge. After being booked into the Knox County Jail, he would go to where the jailers stored a guitar, and grab it up. He would sit and play his guitar, and sing to the jailers, and other inmates until Red got tired. From 1959 to the day he died, Red had many run-ins with law enforcement. Anything from public intox, to larceny. Who knows why Red gave up on his musical career? Maybe he just got tired of the rat race, and decided to live the way he wanted. Red was still a celebrity to many folks in the Knox County, Vincennes, Indiana area. A nice guy to the end, a friend to everyone. Carlos Tintrell Red Garrett died on September 13, 1978, in Pearl City, Indiana, when he was 53 years old. He drowned in the Wabash River near Pearl City while swimming with 3 friends. His friends tried to bring him in, but he went under again. Red and his 3 friends were close, they enjoyed having a good time, which most of the time indulging in intoxicating refreshments. It was not uncommon to take a swim in the Wabash on a hot summer day, if you lived in Pearl City, or Vincennes. On this day Mr. Red Garrett lost his life, a musical sensation, and a wealth of knowledge gone. In an article from a country music magazine, Red had a printed comment. He said, "Never refused to play in a town just because it was small, and lacked celebrities to take notice of him."
I'm oh so happy, you can't make me cry the way you have before. That's why I'm happy, and nothing you can do can hurt me anymore. You've dated everyone who'd show you any fun, although you knew it'd break my heart in two. You'd take the dough from me to go out on a spree, and then you'd take some other guy with you. You took the wedding ring I bought you in the spring. You hawked it down on Pawn Shop Avenue. Then at the very end, you married my best friend and left me there to pay the preacher too. Well, that's why I'm happy. There's nothing mean that's left for you to do. That's why I'm happy. You've run out of dirty tricks to make me blue. I'm oh so happy. You can't make me cry the way you have before. That's why I'm happy. Nothing you can do can hurt me anymore.